What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Seahawks Now, your home for all things daily Seahawks news, updates, and rumors. Been an extended weekend. I took a little break there, had a funeral to attend, but we are back at it on Monday. And yeah, some more big news. Trey Hendrickson still feuding with the Bengals. Could there be trade potential there? We discuss. Plus, a Seahawks rookie, Tory Horton, has been named among one of the 5 rookies with the most potential to outperform his draft value. And could the Seahawks be featured on Hard Knocks next year? Talking about all that and more right here today on Seahawks Now. But first, let's get into it. Guys, Trey Hendrickson still feuding with the Bengals. I've been beating this for the past week or so. I think the Seahawks should give the Bengals a call. Look, says he's not going to play for the Bengals on his current deal. The Bengals, they have apparently offered him a contract that he does not like. They are very far apart, according to reports, according to Yahoo Sports, according to Mike Florio at Pro Football Talk. A lot of the people, they're all reporting the same thing. The Bengals are lowballing Trey Hendrickson. They've offered him about $28 million per year. Hendrickson, he believes that he's worth a lot more than that. He does have real value, but he doesn't have much leverage. Basically, his options are he can either take the team's offer, play on a new deal, or he can play for the current contract that he's at, which is $16 million, and then he'd become a free agent next year, or he just has to hold out and hope that the Bengals cave. But chances are they're not going to cave. Hendrickson, he's basically said he was promised he would get his money, and now he's not getting it. He thought that the Bengals were lying to him, that they've gone back on a promise. He said that he's disappointed with the communication that has been had. He says former players have walked in these shoes, and what it foreshadows is not something I'm excited about to tell my wife and my family. I'm hoping it doesn't come to that. I truthfully will put my hope in that. Yeah, he's been really, really good. 4 straight Pro Bowls, 17 and a half sacks last year. He led the league in sacks last year. And he believes that, he's worth more than $28 million. Why does he think that? Well, Max Crosby, $35 million. Myles Garrett, $40 million. Micah Parsons, he's also expected to get $40 million. And when he looks at, you just signed Jamar Chase to $160 million over 4 years. You signed T. Higgins to $120 million over 4 years. Why don't you have the money for me? There's no reason why T. Higgins should be making more money than Trey Hendrickson. And that is currently, the Bengals are paying T. Higgins $30 million a season. They're offering Trey Hendrickson less than that. It shows me that A, the Bengals don't have their priority in line, but B, it shows me that, maybe they just don't have the budget to pay this guy, in which case, why shouldn't the Seahawks call? The Seahawks could massively benefit from a guy like Trey Hendrickson on this defense, a guy who can come in and get 12, 13, maybe 15 sacks. That's huge. It's huge for the way that the defensive line currently functions. Because, we have good players on the D line. We have guys like Boye Mafe, guys like Leonard Williams, guys like Byron Murphy, and newly drafted Riley Mills will be there as well. But the Seahawks don't have a true game-wrecking edge rusher. They don't have a Nick Bosa. They don't have a TJ Watt. They don't have a Micah Parsons. You know who would be that guy for the Seahawks is Trey Hendrickson. Yeah, I'm saying it. He's up there with Watt, Bosa, Parsons, Chris Jones. That is where he is. That is the level of player that he is. I know he's going to be 31 next year, but I don't care. He led the league in sacks last year. He led the league in sacks literally last year. So if you traded for Trey Hendrickson and then you gave him a 4-year, $36 million a season extension, people might say that's an overpay, but for a true game-changing edge rusher, I don't think it is an overpay. I think it's actually a very fair thing to ask for a game-changing edge rusher. I think it makes a lot of sense. I would do it in a heartbeat. I would trade for this guy in a heartbeat. I know there's financial stuff that comes into it. I know there are things that you have to think about and have to consider. How much do we want to keep this guy for? What is he worth? He's not worth that much. Think about this. On the trade market, he couldn't be worth that much on the trade market because he only has 1 year left on his deal. So you can probably get this guy for a second-round pick, maybe even for a third-round pick. That it's as simple as that. And so I think that at the end of the day, this would be a home run of a move for the Seahawks. I think it would complete a great offseason. It would make them true contenders in the NFC, not only for the playoffs, but for the Super Bowl. And if that's what you're trying to do, if you're trying to win a Super Bowl, you got to swing for the fences. When Trey Hendrickson, even if there's just a small possibility, you have to make that phone call. You have to inquire about what is the potential of a trade. That's what I'm saying, at least for the Seahawks. All right, but let's move on from Trey Hendrickson rumors. Let's talk about Tory Horton. Tory Horton has been named as one of 5 rookie wide receivers who will outplay their NFL draft value. So I love seeing this. He was drafted in the 5th round, and Bleacher Report writer Brent Sobleski, he believes that he is one of 5 receivers who were drafted on day 3 that are going to outplay that day 3 selection. In fact, he went as far as to call him the next Puka Nacua. I mean, if that's the case, the Seahawks have landed on pure gold. I don't think the Seahawks need a Puka Nacua level receiver, but if they can even get a guy who's just a really good wide receiver 3, that would be great. This is what Sobleski writes. He says, while no one should be viewed as the next Puka Nacua after his record-setting campaign, Seahawks' Tory Horton profiles similarly upon entering the league. Like Nacua, injuries during Horton's final season affected his draft stock and ultimately dropped him into the 5th round. Also, like Nacua, the incoming rookie transferred during his collegiate career and posted the best season the year before he was drafted. In 2023, he caught 96 passes for 1,136 yards, including a 16-catch, 133-yard performance in a double overtime loss to the Colorado Buffaloes, where he actually managed 2 grabs over future 2nd overall pick Travis Hunter. Cooper Kupp's recent injury history is another reason to believe Horton could crack Seattle's lineup as a rookie and quickly grow into a significant role, much like Nacua did in his first year with the Rams. Horton obviously has not even taken the field. He's still getting healthy. He did not play in rookie minicamp. He did not participate. He sat out. But yeah, they're right. The similarities to Nacua are pretty jarring. He gets drafted to a team with Cooper Kupp in the 5th round. His best season came as a junior, not as a senior. He got hurt as a senior. He transferred to a Mountain West school. Yeah, very similar things to Puka Nacua. And obviously Nacua did break out really well. The other trait that Tory Horton possesses is his speed. He's really, really fast. He has shown a lot of ability to be one of the quickest receivers in college football last year, and I think he could do it again at an NFL level. Look, if he could be the next Puka Nacua, that'd be great. Personally, I don't need him to be that. I just want him to be, what, can he be the next Tyler Lockett? Tyler Lockett, not Puka Nacua level, but a good receiver. Can he go for 500, 700, maybe 800 yards a season for 3 or 4 years? That would be great value out of Tory Horton for a 5th round receiver, because a lot of 5th round picks, they barely play. A lot of 5th round receivers don't even find playing time. Tory Horton's going to get a chance, because right now he is the Seahawks wide receiver 4. He's going to play. He's going to play on Sundays. Marquez Valdes-Scantling also in the mix there, but Tory Horton will play. That's not the question. The question is, how good can he be? If he can get into being a good starter level receiver, that would be fantastic value. And I'm glad to see that people are recognizing, yeah, this was a great pick for the Seahawks. All right, let's move on. Final thing I want to talk about today, the NFC West reportedly could be featured on Hard Knocks in 2025. What does that mean for the Seahawks? This is what we're hearing from Tim Kawakami, 49ers reporter. He says, the 49ers could be involved in an NFC West in-season Hard Knocks like they did with the AFC North actually, last season. They said it would be the only way the Niners would want those cameras around them. And if they're doing an in-season division edition, the Seahawks are also in the NFC West. So that would be interesting. They could wind up on some sort of a division feature on HBO's Hard Knocks. Last season, they did the NFC North, or the AFC North. They featured the Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, and Browns. It was really interesting to see some of that insight, especially into the Bengals, to see what was going on there as that team was kind of falling apart mid-season. And then they kind of had to, bounce back. We got to see that. We got to see some of the Steelers and what was going on there. They also kind of fell apart mid-season. So yeah, the Seahawks have never been on HBO. They actually turned down Hard Knocks back in 2013. The Seahawks could be a candidate for training camp as well, but it would make more sense if they're doing the in-season NFC West edition. The Seahawks would not double down and also do it for training camp. We'll know pretty soon. I mean, HBO usually announces this in kind of the early days of the summer, so chances are we know this in probably June, maybe July. honestly, I don't think that it would maybe be a massive thing for the Seahawks to be on Hard Knocks. I mean, obviously it gets some publicity up, but it could also be a distraction for players. It can also be like, get these cameras out of our face. We're here to play football, not to be on TV. So I think there's definitely kind of a potential for it to harm the team. So I don't really care. Obviously, if they are on Hard Knocks, I'd be watching it. I'd be watching it every day. But that's not to say that I think it would be helpful for the team. It might be helpful for the team. Better chances that it could be actually hurtful for the team, though. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's where I'm at as far as Hard Knocks goes. I'd watch it. Don't know if it's the best call. We'll see. We'll see. I wouldn't say I'm hoping for it. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily hoping that they don't go on it. I just think sometimes teams go on Hard Knocks and it turns into a big distraction. I hope that is not what would happen for the Seahawks. With that all being said, guys, we're going to wrap this video up. As always, have a great day. And until next time, go Seahawks. See you tomorrow.